SANDAG board member Terry Gaasterland. Terry, good morning, good to see you.
Good morning, Jason. Really good to be here.
So we're going to have more people in town.
Well, we have to be careful about how we're thinking about this. What the data model is saying is that the growth will be 152,000 people over a 20-year period. We have 3.2 million people in San Diego. That means it's a 0.25% per year growth. This is a game changer for planning in housing and for planning in transit.
How did they come to that number over 20 years when people are leaving California in droves?
Well, that's the whole point. The previous model said that we were going to have 4 million people by the year 2042. This model says we're going to have 3.2 million people plus 152,000. That tiny amount of growth completely changes how to think about our housing needs and about our transit needs. Housing needs. Right now, we're mandated by the state in the entire San Diego region to build 107,000 new housing units regionally during an 8-year cycle. We're doing it by building 1 new affordable unit for every 4 market rate units. That means we're building housing that people don't need. You know, we're not building the affordable housing, we're building and building and building. This new population calculation says we need to build a housing that's affordable, not housing that just makes more housing.
Well, yeah, the builder's got to make money. I mean, the principle of highest and best use is always in play. And we hear affordable housing, and a lot of times that's kind of a political buzz term.
Right, right.
So
And
we'd love to have everybody be able to afford a home, obviously, especially with the crisis.
well, this is exactly right. The real problem is that the median cost of a home in the San Diego area is way too many multiples of the median income in the area. That's at the heart of it all. And now we know that we don't need to accommodate 4 million people in the region 20 years from now. We need to rethink, how do we reset what's been going on economically with housing costs in the area? The other side of this, remember, is transit.
Right.
So if we're not having more cars on the roads, in part because people are working remotely, working at home, but also in part because we're not going to have 4 million people, rather we'll have 3.2 million plus a few in 2042. Then we can think about traffic and congestion and eliminating that through better engineering, rather than thinking, oh, we need more lanes on the highways necessarily. Where do we need those lanes? How do we make the interchanges more accessible so that people can get on and off better?
Yeah, and well, SANDAG, they've been, this mass transit thing, things are going to change, not to shift this, but SANDAG is gone now.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So are we still going to hold on to this nonsensical $160 billion infrastructure
Well,
plan?
so that's the whole point of this new revised population model. This came out just before the holiday. The board did get briefed on it, but what we're doing now is realizing what are the implications and what does this really mean. And this is happening now that Hassan is no longer at SANDAG. We have a new executive director, she's interim, Colleen Clemenson, and she's trained to think about these things. She has a depth of background that she brings to the table that I think we're really going to see things go differently in 2024 and as we go forward. And I'll give you an example. You know, why is the population not going to grow at the rates that people wanted? It's not only that mismatch between affordability and income, housing costs and income, it's also the fact that people are working from home. And the other is we have transient jobs in the region, and those transient jobs, and what do I mean by that? You have a big gigantic concert at the Del Mar Fairgrounds for 3 days with 200 jobs. Those jobs are coming and going. And they're being held by people who are going to take other jobs in other places. It doesn't make sense to be building housing for that kind of job.
Yeah, well, it sounds, I don't know about you, but I'm encouraged by this new report.
Yes.
These new numbers. We don't need 4 million people in this.
Well,
3.2 is we're good for now.
What's really wonderful about this revised population model is that we can step back and say, hey, what do we really like about San Diego? What is good about our region? Where can we go and where do we have issues? And wherever we have issues with traffic, let's fix it.
Mhm.
And let's not get distracted by building more and more and more for the people who aren't gonna be here.
Yeah, all right. Terry Gaasterland. Appreciate the update.
Yeah, thank you,
That's
Jason.
encouraging.